Well, at first glance, it appears inevitable that we must discuss money this morning. Our collect mentions our heavenly treasure. Amos calls out those lying on beds of ivory, which sounds pretty uncomfortable to me. St. Paul warns against the temptations of the wealthy, and then Jesus tells a parable about Lazarus and the rich man. Nearly nothing, in my experience, causes the casual listener to roll their eyes and mutter under their breath more than the church talking about money. So I'll just let the scriptures do most of that work today. And although about a quarter of Jesus' parables deal with money and wealth and possessions, this morning I want to talk about something far more important than that. And I want to begin by correcting a misconception, a misquote even. The Bible nowhere says that money is the root of all evil. If that's what we have heard, we've heard it wrong. What the Holy Scriptures do say is that the love of money is the root or the source of all kinds of evil, leading to many sorrows. And that's a small but significant difference, I believe. So I'm not going to mess about with money this morning, but instead I want to ask a far more dangerous question, a question that I pray rattles around inside us all this week. A question that might pop up at inconvenient moments, maybe make us squirm a little as we stumble towards the answer to this. Where is my heart? In his letter to Timothy about these matters, St. Paul, in discussing where our hearts are, uses some really strangely ambivalent language. St. Paul starts with a great statement, a wonderful phrase. There is great gain, he says, in godliness with contentment. The feeling that one has enough. He says this to people, to hearers of all kinds. Godliness with contentment, satisfaction. That is great gain. Clearly, St. Paul never read John Steinbeck, who said, "There is no such thing as just enough money. There are only two measures, no money and not enough money." But St. Paul calls that a lie. And in so doing, I think he challenges us to change the paradigm of the heart. The Bible suggests that when we struggle to define what is enough money, we may not have a wallet issue, but a heart issue. Now, I can only answer the question, where is my heart, for one person only. Each of us must grapple with that in silence. That silence we find when we actually quiet our hearts really to pray. When we listen to God in the stillness of our own room. Where are our hearts? And as I begin to grapple with the answer to this question, the Bible offers all kinds of strange help once I decide that I want my heart and my treasure both to be with God. St. Paul uses a really interesting word. He encourages Timothy to flee from the love of money and all the cravings it causes, to shun. That means to fly like a refugee from an invading army. Run away, is what Paul says against these temptations of the heart. And so when that temptation, that testing comes to for me to fondle the thoughts of earthly treasures, as soon as I notice that temptation, I should turn tail and run. Danger lies that way. Okay, I should shun the temptations of earthly satisfaction and material things. Great. But where should I go instead? And that's the question I believe to ask. As we flee from, honestly, an idolatrous approach to money, St. Paul says instead we should aim at righteousness, godliness, faith, love, steadfastness, and gentleness. But the word aim at is far too weak to carry the meaning of what St. Paul says in the Greek. It's much too mild. You should aim at godliness. Do your best to try for gentleness. No, that's not what Paul says at all. The word he actually uses is we should persecute righteousness. That seems really strange to me. But if you think about what a persecutor does, a persecutor comes and chases and clings to and attaches oneself to. We should chase after godliness and contentment like we were persecuting it, watching for its every move, taking all advantage. We should, if you will, grab at goodness like an angry person eagerly seeking to lay hands on their bitterest enemy. That's how we should go after gentleness, contentment. We should chase it like a young lawyer fighting her first huge case with everything at stake. That's how we should go after it. Instead of obsessing over our securities, we should mount a massive manhunt for love and gentleness and faith and never rest until we capture it. I don't know about you, but I've been watching the track and field championships this week, and I've seen some remarkable performances, some great kicks there at the end, and that's how we should go after God with our hearts. God's righteousness, if you will, is our true security. One more thing. And no, I haven't hidden pledge cards in every pew or under your seats. Don't worry. One more thing. As we hide our hearts and all our treasure in heavenly things, as we pursue like a persecutor all the qualities of God's goodness that he wants to grow in us, let us remember one thing above all, that the Christian life means so much more than what we pursue. The Christian life is all about the one who pursues us. We gather on this first day of the week because someone indeed has risen from the dead and come to give us a good word. The tomb is empty. Jesus' tomb, along with the tombs of every dead and empty pursuit. And as soon as Christ arose, he broke every barrier and walked through every wall to come and to seek after all of his disciples. And today that also means me and you. He seeks us still, always. Whenever we pursue righteousness and godliness and faith and love and endurance, and oh my, do we need this gentleness, we are actually pursuing Jesus. We are seeking to take hold of the one who already takes hold of us. And so, as in everything, we love because he first loved us, and he loves us still. And because he loves us, we can hide our hearts and have our treasure in him. Amen.